Unfortunately, this is my first Hoka Rincon, but after taking the Rincon 3 to 100 miles, I'm pretty sure this won't be my last. The Hoka Rincon 3 review, done by me, the heavy runner weightlifter, a heavy runner. First, starting with the upper, I found the upper to be somewhat comfortable. When you first put it on, it's light, you can feel that it's very breathable, but with just a couple issues. I found that the toe box was just a little too narrow throughout the entire run. I just couldn't keep my mind off of the fact that my big toe was just kind of cramped amongst my other toes. My other main problem is in the heel area. It's built up pretty perfectly, it's got a sturdy heel cup, but the only issue with that is the fabric lining the back of your heel and on the inside of your ankle is very soft. I found that, coupled the low profile shoe, led to a little bit of heel slippage and some instability, which I'll get to a little later. The eyelet chains were perfect. It made it really easy to cinch up the shoelaces and get a really good lockdown. And I also found that the tongue worked great when it came to keeping the pressure off the top of my foot. Meaning the only real issue I had was the slipping and the slightly cramped toe box. The pull tab was kind of small and I felt like it was meaningless, but I generally use my pull tabs for taking off my shoes because it makes it real easy to just slip it right off the back of my heel. Other than that, I feel like the upper it's very breathable, it's light, and it's kind of what you want when you have a shoe that you need to be light and you're going to take out for maybe a quicker day, or if you want to be a little easier on your legs. I'm going to go straight to the outsole because I feel like the outsole is a very interesting point of subject for the Rincon typically. As you can see, for the third iteration of the Rincon, they decided to use more outsole to cover up the midsole exposure. And this works wonderfully. They chose a very sticky, very grippy rubber. Unfortunately, it has early wear and wears very quickly. So you would think that they've added more rubber, this means it will last longer, but really it just seems like it removes some of the cosmetic distaste that comes with having so much of the midsole exposed. But they still did a good job, because when you think about what the Rincon is, it's not necessarily going to last you forever. So I think the little bit of strategic places that they put, the outsole, it works perfectly. But I also want to draw attention to the places where the outsole lacks, and you can see towards the inside of your foot there's less outsole, and what that'll lead to is more compression, and that's what you'll hear someone mention when they talk about this shoe, the instability. If you're an overpronator, you might really feel it in this one because it doesn't really keep your ankle upwards. The midsole is planted because it's wide, but if you have a constant habit of rolling your ankle in, you're really gonna feel it in this shoe. Because upper is not tall, it's a short upper. The lining of the upper is smooth and it's kind of narrow, so you will have some stability issues if you're an overpronator. But if you're more towards a neutral runner, a neutral foot strike, you should be perfectly fine. And now for the midsole. I found the midsole to be absolutely perfect. In the very beginning, I found it to be a little soft. I felt like I was fighting my way out of it. But after maybe about 10, 15 miles, it settles in and you get like a nice bounce. That, coupled with the smoothest rocker, I loved taking the shoe out for my everyday runs. Hoka's got this thing where they put such a big decoupled grooves under some of their shoes, and it just gave me the impression that the shoe didn't have a heel. So I got used to the sensation, and when the midsole settled, I had just a better planted foot feeling. But I would have to say, in the very beginning, the heel was so soft that it almost felt as though I was forced to run on my mid to forefoot, which is fine because that's the way I run normally. But in this shoe, it was very, very prevalent, and I noticed it. But over the miles, I would say that the shoe feels great, and you forget about the midsole. You can't forget about the upper for me, but I definitely forgot about the midsole. I took the shoe on a few long runs, but I would have to say, after about 10 miles or so, I started to feel like my legs were taking a beating. And I feel like that's mainly because, yes, it's not a max cushion shoe, But the midsole, while it is soft and kind of squishy, it is responsive. So I feel like that's what was kind of beating me up. The midsole was just constantly giving me like pushback. But over the long haul, I would say that for me, it's not the greatest long run shoe. But when it comes to a daily trainer, it's absolutely wonderful. I feel like this is exactly what you would look for when you want a shoe that you're just going to throw on and go out for a run. Durability wise, I wouldn't expect a tremendous out. Like, I have 105 miles in my pair, and I'm not expecting to get 100 more, maybe 100 max, just because of how much the shoe changed over such a short period of time. But when you look at the price of the shoe, the way it feels, its lightness, I feel like it's 100% worth it because of what you're getting. A comfortable shoe that's going to take you out day after day after day. This sensation, I feel like, could cost much more, but for the price that this shoe comes in, this package, I say it's definitely worth it. And that's regardless of the fact that the toe box was narrow, regardless of the fact that there's heel slippage, regardless of the fact that the shoe is not a very stable shoe. I still think it's a very good shoe. It's wonderful. Every time I put it on, I'm motivated, and I definitely feel like it's worth it.